The Warhammer 40k verse is built upon a foundation of epic heroes and tragic flaws, embodied most powerfully in the figures of the Primarchs. Genetically engineered demigods, these sons of the Emperor were designed to lead humanity in a golden age. Their triumphs and ultimately their falls shaped the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. But what if their foundation crumbled? What if the Emperor's grand experiment to create the Primarchs had failed entirely? What if they were never made? Examining this alternative timeline requires a deep dive into the intricate web of cause and effect, exploring the profound and potentially catastrophic ramifications for the Imperium of Man and the galaxy at large. Greetings all, I'm your guide, the Archivist. Today I will dive into what would have happened if the Primarchs had never existed. Before we begin, please make sure to like the like and subscribe waypoints down below, so that more people can learn from the archives. To understand the impact of the Primarchs' absence, we must first revisit the Emperor's grand design. Following the Age of Strife, a period of technological regression and the warp-spawned horrors, the Emperor emerged as a beacon of hope, a figure of immense power and intellect. He envisioned a galaxy united under the banner of reason and human supremacy, free from the superstition and chaos that had nearly destroyed mankind. The Great Crusade was the means to this end, a campaign of galactic conquest designed to reunite lost human colonies and bring them under the Emperor's rule. The Primarchs were intended to be the key to the Great Crusade's success. Genetically crafted using the Emperor's own DNA, they were designed to be unparalleled warriors, strategists, and leaders. Each was infused with unique traits and capabilities, making them ideal commanders for the Space Marine legions, the Emperor's elite shock troops. Without the Primarchs, the Great Crusade would have been drastically different, and almost certainly far less successful endeavour. In the absence of the Primarchs, several immediate consequences would ripple through the early days of the Imperium. The Space Marine legions, while still genetically enhanced super soldiers, would lack the charismatic leadership and strategic brilliance of their Primarch fathers. The legions might still have been created, perhaps based on different genetic templates or even a less refined version of the Primarch project. However, their effectiveness would be significantly diminished. The Great Crusade itself would likely stagnate. Without the Primarchs to lead specific fronts, the campaign would be hamstrung by logistical nightmares, conflicting strategies between commanders, and a general lack of inspiring leadership needed to maintain momentum. Compliance of human worlds would be slower and more brutal, as the legions would rely far more on brute force than diplomacy and carefully crafted strategies that leverage a Primarch's unique strengths. It's possible that the Emperor himself would have taken a more direct command role. However, even the Emperor's immense power has its limits. He cannot be everywhere at once, and micromanaging the entire Great Crusade would have been an impossible task. Furthermore, the Emperor's time was likely divided between the Crusade and the continued work on the Golden Throne project, a vital piece of technology required for humanity's survival. The Horus Heresy, the cataclysmic civil war that nearly destroyed the Imperium, was directly fueled by the corruption and treachery of several Primarchs. Without the Primarchs, the Heresy as we know wouldn't happen. However, that doesn't necessarily mean the Imperium would be spared a similar conflict. The underlying factors that contribute to the heresy, ambition, resentment, and the corrupting influence of chaos, would still exist. Instead of a galaxy-spanning civil war led by demigod figures, the conflict might manifest as several internal power struggles between high-ranking military commanders, planetary governors, and even factions within the Adeptus Terra itself. This could lead to a fractured Imperium, with various sectors declaring independence or vying for control. Chaos would still be a threat, perhaps even a greater one. Without the Primarchs to act as focal points for corruption, the influence of the Chaos Gods might spread more subtly and insidiously through the Imperium, eroding its foundations from within. Cults and secret societies could flourish, undermining the Imperial's authority and preparing the way for demonic incursion. The absence of the Primarchs would have a cascading effect on the Imperium's development over the millennia. The Space Marine chapters descended from the legions would lack the genetic legacy and spiritual guidance passed down from their Primarchs. They might be less effective in combat and more prone to deviation from the Emperor's ideals. Key events in Imperial history would be drastically altered or never occur at all. The defence of Terra during the Horus Heresy, for example, would be a far more desperate affair without the Primarchs to lead the defence. The outcome could be a complete victory for the traitor forces, leading to the Emperor's death and the utter ruin of the Imperium. Even if the Imperium survived, its technological and societal stagnation would likely be accelerated. Without the Primarchs to inspire innovation and maintain order, the Imperium might descend further into superstition, dogma and decay. The Adeptus Mechanicus, the priesthood of technology, would become even more influential, stifling independent research and clinging to ancient, often poorly understood technology. The external threats to the Imperium would also be amplified. The Orcs, always a relentless tide of destruction, might overwhelm under-defended sectors. The Tyranids, the ravenous hive fleets from beyond the galaxy, would find a less resilient Imperium to devour. The Eldar, weakened and fragmented, would struggle to even more to survive, and the forces of chaos, constantly probing for weaknesses, would find a decaying Imperium ripe for corruption and conquest. While the overall picture paints a grim scenario for a Primarchless Imperium, there are also potential scenarios that could lead to different outcomes. Perhaps in the absence of the Primarchs, the Emperor would have focused more on developing other technologies or strategies to safeguard humanity. Perhaps a new generation of heroes would arise, ordinary humans who through courage, intellect or sheer luck would step into the void left by the Primarchs. One intriguing possibility is that the Emperor might have sought alternative methods of achieving his goals. Perhaps he would have focused on developing more advanced artificial intelligence, or on mastering the secrets of the Webway, the ancient Eldar network of tunnels that allow for faster than light travel. However, both of these paths carry significant risks. AI could become a threat to humanity, while the Webway is a dangerous and unpredictable realm. The absence of the Primarchs would fundamentally alter the Warhammer 40k verse, creating a galaxy that is arguably even darker and more desperate than the one we know. The Great Crusade would have been a slower, more brutal affair. The Horus Heresy could have been replaced by a different but equally devastating internal conflict, and the Imperium of Man would be even more vulnerable to the myriad threats that lurk in the grim darkness of the far future. Exploring this what-if scenario provides a valuable insight into the importance of the Primarchs in shaping the Warhammer 40k verse. While their flaws and failures ultimately contributed to the Imperium's downfall, their absence would likely have led to an even more tragic and irreversible decline. The Warhammer 40k universe is a testament to the idea that even demigods with the best of intentions can set the stage for destruction. The absence of such beings may only lead to more devastation when all the details are examined. In a galaxy defined by war and suffering, the Primarchs, for all their flaws, were a crucial element in the Imperium's struggle for survival. Without them, the flickering flame of humanity might have been extinguished long ago. So I have now covered the content for this video, but if there's anything that has been missed, please share them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this content, please remember to like the like and subscribe waypoints down below, so that more people can learn from the archives. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.